We're back with another show. So everybody's got their angle that we're going to take tonight. And Tyler thinks Drake Maye be VP. Drake Maye MVP chance coming your way. What do you guys get when you cross a TikTok dance star and a football field?
The Miami Dolphins?
Juju
I don't know, but watch out. It's bullying Brian Branch.
Damn, that was good.
Rico Dowdle claims that the only thing that's taken more shots than Tua's head is Dallas defense. So that'll be another fun conversation. And unlike Stadium Rant, Blake claims that there is no top dog in the NFL. So these are all things we're going to get into tonight. But thanks for joining us for another episode, guys. As always, drop anything you want to in the comments, and we'll get to it as we go. But, man, what a week of football.
That was electric, Louie. Good shit.
Bro, really. That Brian Branch joke, I cooked it up and I said, this is amazing.
I really thought I had something going with this homie here. Like, I really thought it was Miami Dolphins was the answer to that question. I said that with full confidence. All right, guys, let's get into it. I can start. So we're doing the show a little bit different. Typically, we do our overreactions, underreactions. We're going to scrap that section. And now we're just doing rants of the week. All right, we're working on a drop for that. We'll get that hopefully next week. So basically, the idea is each one of us gets 3 minutes to rant about what we want to rant about. Each other co-host gets about 1 minute to counterpoint or say something in response, and then we're moving on. So I'll start. You teed me up nice. There is absolutely zero reason that Drake Maye should not be in the MVP conversation. And not only should he be in the MVP conversation, other than Baker Mayfield, there is nobody else who should be near him right this second. In year 2, he's ranks 5th in EPA per dropback and amongst all quarterbacks since 2000 in his second year. So that's guys like Lamar and Patrick Mahomes are first with 0.34 offensive EPA per dropback. Drake's sitting at 0.26. This year alone, he has 73.2% completion percentage, 1,522 yards, good for 5th in the NFL, 12 total touchdowns, 2 picks, and a passer rating of 112.5. He joins Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Dan Marino as the only QBs 23 or younger for 200-plus passing yards, 100-plus passer rating in 5 consecutive games to open the season. I got a couple more here. Quarterbacks that have accumulated 50-plus expected points on dropbacks this season through week 6. Baker Mayfield, 58.9. Drake Maye, 57.7. Drake Maye ranks 2nd in NFL in completion percentage, 4th in yards per attempt this season. 5 second-year QBs have ranked top 4 in the NFL in both a full season since 1970. Those quarterbacks, Dan Marino, Peyton Manning, Kurt Warner, Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy. And then lastly, the league average completion percentage on throws of 20-plus air yards or more this season is 40%. Drake Maye leads the league in such throws with 71.4%. And then I got a couple more things. He leads the league in success rate and EPA per play of 10-plus yard or 10-plus air yards. Leads the league on QB EPA on third and down. And then he leads the league in QB performance versus man coverage and EPA. So, I mean, stats speak, guys. Stats speak, and my dude's fucking balling. They're 4-2, first in the AFC East after the collectively putting 2 4-win seasons out in back-to-back years. We're not forgetting about Dak. He just lost to the Panthers.
I was going to say prerequisite for MVP convo is you have to actually
Carolina Panthers. Thanks, Nicholas, for commenting, by the way. Really appreciate you. He's a new contributor for Stadium Rant, so give him a shout-out. Appreciate you jumping into the fold.
Yeah, so I will say that I think Drake Maye is putting together a great season, but I think to be in an MVP discussion, you have to have impressive wins against impressive teams. Looking at his record, I would say the only real statement win is against the Bills.
For sure.
So I'm not discrediting what he's done, right? You can only play the guys on the schedule. Yep. I think when it comes down to brass tacks, you're going to look at Baker Mayfield as he's leading game-winning drives against playoff teams, and Drake Maye hasn't had to do that yet.
For sure.
If we're talking about the statistical best season in the NFL right now, I 100% think it is Drake Maye. I think he's having a great year. I think Vrabel is a shoe-in for coach of the year. And if they win the AFC East, crazier things have happened.
They win the AFC East, you guys better not come on the show anymore because I will be insufferable.
I think I had them at 4 wins for the season, so I just need them to lose out. And I need them to pull Miami Dolphins.
So, like, that's kind of why I put him in this MVP conversation, though, and put him as high or higher than Dak. We know that the Cowboys offense is going to be good. Even though they're hurt, they still have George Pickens, who arguably would come onto the Patriots to be the best receiver we have. You know? And then they still have Javonte Williams would come onto the Patriots, be the best running back we have. Jake Ferguson would come onto the Patriots, be the best tight end we have. Your offensive line hurt, yes. Definitely, I'll give you that. But we expect this offense to be good. You take Dak off it. We've seen Cooper Rush operate this offense, not to the best of Dak's ability. You take Drake Maye off this team, they fucking suck. Plain and simple. So, Bahookie, go for your rebuttal. I'm sorry. I actually don't get a rebuttal. This is new, so I'll shut my mouth for the next 2 minutes here.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say go off, King. That was awesome. Honestly, that was my main rebuttal. Yeah, the Pats are in first place for the division right now, and we were talking a little bit about it being part of the show. Their schedule is pretty manageable coming up, but the next. So we're moving from the first third of the season through week 6 to the middle third. Usually, the first third kind of sorts it out a little bit. By the second third, the contenders start to emerge. The last third, it gets settled. And I've seen this Bills team kind of follow the same cadence to their season as the Yankees have the last few years, where they start hot and look like one of the best teams in ball, then kind of falter in the middle of the season, and then like the end of the season, they get hot and figure it out, and then they disappoint in the playoffs. But we'll see what's going to be different about this one. We have a lot of people coming back from injury and suspension, and have our bye week coming up, but tough games at Carolina and versus Kansas City. So they really need to get right after this bye week here. But after watching them and after watching the Eagles, who I thought were really, kind of the 2 best teams, will drop their second in a row. And the Bucs got a huge win, but are losing to Mike Ibuka, and we'll see. And I would still probably put Baker ahead because he's missing like so many of his pieces and still getting it done. But
I get it. I mean, dude, how can you not put Baker Mayfield ahead of everybody else? Like, I mean,
I would say he's 1A and Drake Maye's 1B to me in the MVP race. But there's so much still in front of these teams. Just to be at that level is a huge step.
Yeah, they're both balling on a budget
for sure. Nolan, do you have a rebuttal? And if not, or if you do, or after you do, you can go into your rant, and then we'll rebuttal. Louie, you can go next, and then Bahookie can wrap us up, and we go into the next segment.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the only rebuttal I have to that is the same argument that you hear every year of strength of schedule. Anytime you get guys down to brass tacks where maybe they are similar in those stat lines where it pretty much runs side by side all year long, eventually it will come down to, oh, well, who did you play? Who did you put those stats up against? And I definitely think the back half of the Patriots schedule will be a little bit more telling, and I would love to see Drake Maye continue that. I mean, that's why you drafted him as high as you did. So I would say my rebuttal to it is let's see how he does in the second half, because sometimes people can absolutely crumble into pieces after a bye week or something like that. So we'll see what happens. That bye week is coming up here soon. I believe week 7, correct?
I think it's week 10.
So,
but I don't disagree with that because it happened to Mac Jones. They were first in the AFC completely that year. Went on the bye, and then they got smoked by Indy, just punched in the mouth. And then after that, I don't think we just crumbled after that.
there are ways for it to fall apart. So that would be what I would be cautious for.
They have a week 14 bye.
Very, very late. So that could be good for them if they can kind of keep the train rolling. Then yeah, absolutely put them in that conversation. And you can put them in it right now. I would just say don't automatically just throw somebody head and shoulders above everybody else because
we have to talk about the play that we've seen now so far,
exactly.
and like to this date. And to this date, there's only one person playing better football at the quarterback position. That's Baker Mayfield.
Exactly.
But go for your take, which I'm sure I'm going to agree with.
Right. And I know a lot of Cowboys fans, so there's some out there that would not agree with me. I had the Dallas should get rid of Matt Eberflus by midseason. And I've kind of brought examples of
I missed it by that much. I was looking for it.
That's fine. I brought examples of it. A good example of a first year performance out of a coordinator was from Dan Quinn in 2021. That was also the year that Micah Parsons was brought in via the draft. Under that Quinn defense, Dallas led the NFL in takeaways with 93, interceptions with 59, defensive touchdowns with 15, and quarterback pressure rate at 41.4%. And then they were fifth in scoring defense. They only allowed about 20 points per game that year. And they won 12 games. All 3 years of Dan Quinn was the DC. So that was a perfect example of how to do it right away, right out of the gate. Now, granted, that defensive roster was a lot better for Dan Quinn than maybe it is for Eberflus right now. Under Eberflus, Dallas is last in the league in defensive yard average. They allow about 411 yards per game. They allow 269.5 passing yards. They allow just shy of 145 rushing yards, and the list goes on and on. The only thing that they are further up the list on is their red zone defense is a little bit better. They're not nearly as close to the bottom, but they're still 21st. So it's not fantastic. So this Cowboys defense, this is the worst I've seen it in a long, long time. And it just kind of makes the statements of Jerry Jones saying, well, we think we're going to be better without Micah. I think we found an answer with the direction we're going. It makes it look so bad now that any kind of positivity with this team is just not there. So I think there should be a very, very legitimate conversation that if this continues and Dallas has to put up 25-30 a week and their defense doesn't back it up, that Eberflus needs to be in a conversation of, all right, this did not work. This is not going to work. Let's move on now. And maybe it doesn't happen until the end of the season. Very rarely do coordinators get cut mid-season. It's happened, but we'll see. For now, I think he should be very, very worried about his job security.
Yeah, I totally agree with this rant here. Let me hit you with the next gen stat insight real quick. Bryce Young faced zone coverage on 85.2% of his dropbacks, completing 14 to 21 passes for 174 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, you just probably shouldn't be playing that much zone coverage in today's NFL. Like I just don't think that's how you win in this league, is by playing soft. That's how you get cooked, is by playing these soft zones and not having players who are really excel in zone. You're just playing that because you can't play man coverage essentially. And that is just not good. You don't have the front to stop the run. So it's bad. When you're letting Bryce Young cook you like that, it's tough. And again, you win that game and it's okay, I buy the Dak MVP just a little bit more. Again, we're splitting hairs on that thing. And if you lose to the Panthers, you got a tie on your record, that's tough. Those are 2 tough things. Now, granted, he played spectacularly in both of those games. Weren't on him. But, Louie, you got a rebuttal to this Eberflus rant?
Yeah, my only rebuttal is I don't think firing is harsh enough. I think firing to done might be more appropriate. I think there should be painful. They're saying that DJ Moore may have had testicular torsion. I think something like that is fitting for Matt Eberflus.
Oh my god!
Put him in pads, let the whole defense let him know how it feels. Like that's kind of just the way I feel about it.
Wow!
Woo-wee.
Not the tension. Oh god!
This made me squirt in my seat.
Players up for DJ Moore, by the way. That sounds like it sucks.
Dude, I needed DJ Moore and Deebo Samuel to get like 13, less than 13 and a half points, and they got 13 and a half points combined and beat me by 0.5.
Bro,
How you like them apples?
I was up by 10 in a league. I had Bill Krosky Merritt, and he had DeAndre Swift, and I lost. Which is just tough.
It's brutal. Bahookie, you got a rebuttal to Nolan's rant, and then Louie, you can hit your rant or rebuttal, and then Bahookie, you can go.
In regard to what Nolan said, no, just that so there's been talk amongst Bills fans with something similar with Bobby Babick, because the Bills are supposed to be this like defensive powerhouse team, and then that's not really been the case this year. We do have, like as I was talking about earlier, some people coming back from injury and such, but we did it a couple years ago with Ken Dorsey and brought Joe Brady in, and our offense seems to go a lot better after that. So I don't think anyone on this show is too particularly high on Matt Eberflus.
No, that dude sucks. Louie, you can go on your rant now.
All right. Here's my rant. I think the Lions-Chiefs game is a perfect example of the unstoppable force meets the immovable object, and the problem that we have with today's NFL, which is that they're too soft about things that happen after or the extracurriculars of the game, but they don't actually want to monitor the game. That might be the worst officiating I've ever seen in an NFL game in my life. It was bad. It was atrocious. 0 calls on a team has not happened since like 1950 something. I think I read. Somebody fact check me on that while we're sitting here, but like it's incredibly rare. So I think 2 things can be true. I think the officiating was horrendous, and I think the Lions fans have a right to be mad about it. On the other hand, I think Brian Branch has truly cemented himself as probably the dirtiest player in the league. You've been suspended multiple times for absolutely crowning people with your helmet, hitting them late out of bounds. He's one of the most fined players in the NFL over the last 3 years. He got fined 7 times last year. That's almost half of the games that he played in. Okay. And then in your post-game interview or in the post-game, you refuse to shake the opposing quarterback's hand. You take a swing at somebody who said, "Hey, I don't like that you aren't being a good sport." And then in the post-game locker room, you're going to cry that somebody was bullying you. Get a grip, brother. Seek help. You're lost. But I think this is just an example of like a situation that the league is going to face moving forward on how top teams are going to perform against each other and what that looks like in prime time.
Yeah, my only rebuttal to what you just said is that wasn't the worst officiated game I've ever seen. The Saints Patriots game was the worst officiated game I've ever seen in my entire life. There was 2 50-yard plays. One was a touchdown. The other one was on 3rd and 12 that were taken away by phantom calls that just had no business being called. I don't know if you saw the Stephon Diggs one where they called him for PI when he had his hand there, and then
they hit Rome Odunze with the same thing last night.
Yeah, it's gross.
Make offense is great again.
I just can't. I can't. What frustrates me about that play, or not that play, the Douglas play, is that the ref comes out, the back judge comes running down the field, has nothing to do with the play. The play's bent over. They were lining up for the field goal, and then the guy throws the flag. Like, dude, the play's been over for 15 seconds. The call was like, oh, well, he was processing the play. It's like, what? You want to process the play real time, dog? Like, that's the whole point.
And I think like maybe a bigger part to my rant is that there just needs to be consistency. Like how late should refs actually be able to throw flags? If we're going to be that ticky-tack with review, then you have to review and get every call right. If booth review can come in and overturn stuff or add penalties, then you just have to keep that energy on the whole game. And that is not the case. That's happening right now. And I think the NFL has a serious officiating problem.
For sure, because after that play happened, I'll say one more thing. They went and threw 2 flags right after that on calls that were ticky-tacky, and you're just like, yo, they're literally throwing makeup calls. That was the most blatant makeup call I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, sorry, that was my rebuttal. Bahookie, you can go for your rebuttal.
Yeah, I'm not really. That's another one that I'm not really arguing with. I feel like every week there's at least 1 or 2 of those games. And yeah, there should be I don't know, there should be a blue flag or something to be able to challenge a bad call by a ref or something like that. And there's like some penalties should be reviewable or challengeable if we're going to see it at this level. Yeah, I don't really have much more for you other than that.
Cool. I think the NFL needs to seriously consider having full-time referees. You make so much money in this league. You should staff a sizable group of refs that are full-time employees, and they have to be better. I just think I'm interested to hear Nolan's take. So specifically, let's talk since everybody hates the refs, right? Let's talk about the called back touchdown at the opening drive. The illegal motion, that's an actual in play. You can't technically flag it afterwards. Let's talk about that play, Nolan. What are your thoughts on that one?
So I kind of brought, and I'm going to try to not go over our time here because I know we're trying to be tight with the segments. So the rule that was called here, and I'm like, this is very jargony language. So what that's called was the T formation, where the quarterback runs, is stationary for half a second behind the center, taps the center, and then goes into his own motion again. And the rule says even if he has placed his hands under center or is touching the center on the knee or resting on the center's body, it is legal for a T formation quarterback to go into motion afterwards. However, that motion can't be quick and abrupt, which it wasn't, but the quarterback must come to a complete stop for at least 1 full second in his set before the snap. If you fail to do that, it's illegal motion. And I think that's what's getting lost here. The beginning part of that play is fine. When he goes under center, that's fine. But people are saying it shouldn't be illegal motion when if you watch the playback, Jared Goff has his damn back to the rest of the play when the ball gets hiked. He's still actively running. And that is where it's called, and people are not seeing that. So that's my issue with that play, is that people are just blind to the fact that, yeah, everything about that play is legal until the end of the play when he's still in motion and he can't be.
Yeah.
And that needs to be crystal clear.
My take is that it was an illegal play, but sometimes you miss that. And I think my issue is them huddling up afterwards and then deciding incredibly post the play that, yeah, no, actually that's a penalty. Like that anytime that happens, like the optics are just so bad. Like you missed a call, like just move on. You know what I mean?
It's a better look.
The reason I think they looked at it so heavily is because it was a scoring play. Jared Goff got into the end zone. And
but usually the scoring play review is to establish possession, not to
rule a flag.
Because if we're doing that, then they should be able to call a false start on the Eagles on a tush push when the guard moves. They should be able to replay it and say, actually, that guy started moving before the snap. It's a false start. Back it up. But that doesn't happen.
That's a really good point, Louie.
I do agree with you that there needs to be more consistency.
Yeah.
Because in this case, it again happens to be the Kansas City Chiefs that for the last 5 years, there are plays that have happened where everybody goes, what? Really? Yeah. That got called? I understand that. But this is just another one of those plays where there are portions of it where after you kind of look at it and you understand why they kind of paused and looked at it again, it does make sense. But I do agree there needs to be consistency. If you're going to do that, do it across the board, not just Chiefs games, not just Lions games. Do it for everybody so that in the end people don't bitch about it and say, oh, only this team gets that call. Only this team does this. So I'm both like agreeing with that the Chiefs they got the call right when they reviewed it. But at the same time, yes, I understand that it does look rather fishy because, again, when was the last time you saw that? And Louie, I was looking up the last time a team went penalty free in a game, and the last time it happened was January of last season. The Raiders and the Seahawks both had 0 accepted penalties in the same game.
Accepted penalties or called penalties?
Accepted. If they're declined, then they don't go into the book.
Yeah,
like they're
I
declined.
just wonder if they actually had a flag thrown. But yeah, no, good
because
point.
The Chiefs had that happen too on Sunday night. There were penalties called on the Chiefs, and they were declined, so they didn't go into the book. So there were flags thrown on Kansas City, but they don't go into the book, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're just trying to fool us. Bahookie, go with your rant.
Yeah, so I kind of alluded to it earlier with both the Bills and the Eagles dropping their second in a row this week. Just that this is a really weird season, and it feels like this season more than any other season in recent memory, anyone could really go out and win this championship here. Like running through the standings, like there's none of the good teams that really impress me that much. A lot of the divisions are really wide open. Pats and Bills wide open with them both at 4-2. AFC North's one of the weirdest divisions with the Steelers is the team there at 4-1. Bengals and Ravens combining for 3 wins. Then you got the Browns. You got AFC South with 5-1 Colts, 4-2 Jags. AFC West 4-2 Chargers, 4-2 Broncos. The Chiefs are 3-3, who seem like they're figuring it out, and that's just AFC side, and it's more of the same in the NFC. The NFC West, we got 3 teams at 4-2. The Bucs are 5-1, but missing a lot of their best pieces right now, and we'll see if they're able to keep that going. So
the Lions just got beat down by a Chiefs team we thought were vulnerable on national TV. So it's just like anything could happen. Like the Lions, the Eagles, and Bills all lost on national TV this week. So it's just like it is one of those weeks for sure. Like, and it's one of those years, and hopefully things can keep going the right way for the good guys over here.
The good guys is like, imagine in Star Wars if the Empire rebranded after 5 years of like all the Jedi being back, and then we called them the good guys.
Yeah,
like, I won't forgive or forget that Patriots dynasty. Frick you guys. It's not that. I won't accept it. There's too much competition these days. Get out of here.
You're just Cornelius Fudge being pissed that Voldemort's back, and he's just not willing. He's not back. Yeah, we're fucking back. We're back. We're back for week 6 so far. Check me in a couple weeks, see if we're still back. Hopefully we are.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
All right, cool.
I completely agree with Bahookie though on this rant. Just real quick, if I can, I think the parity in the NFL is one of the best that we've seen in years. And when any given week, I feel like the Seahawks could beat any team in the league with Sam Darnold at the helm. That's must-see TV. When Bijan Robinson can single-handedly dethrone an MVP candidate on Monday Night Football, sorry Bahookie. Yeah, I mean, it's just like transparently, like no quarterback is playing amazing ball. I think Bijan Robinson might be the best player in football, and I think that's good for the sport.